Hello, 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 everybody. This is the Dell Valley Sports Pod. Dan DG3 coming at you all by myself, which is a weird feeling. Never done this. Colin did a little quick pop in episode by himself last week. This is a little bit of a delayed part two that I'm going to come at you with today. Sports are going on right now. A lot of high stakes sports going on. Last week was absolutely electric with the start going into the weekend, I guess you could say. Game one of the NBA Finals, and the Indiana Pacers said, we're not going down easy. Tyrese Halliburton with another clutch game-winning shot. Dude has been incredible. A guy that we heard about as Sixers fans, I would say, 2 years ago maybe, as a guy that might be a target for the Sixers. Man, I wish he would have been nice to see him in our uni. I look at the pace of these teams that are playing the NBA Finals, and I won't stay here too long, and I go, wow, we are not even close. We are not even close. Honestly, that's a theme that I've been seeing with both the NBA Finals and the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, along with the playoffs as a whole. The pace of play compared to what we see from our teams, not even close, pal. But it has been exciting. Thunder evened up that series, so we're 1-1 there, and then the Stanley Cup Finals have been electric. The first two games going into OT, first going to Edmonton, and the second game going to Florida, and then Florida said, let's stop screwing around. They win like 6-1 yesterday. Everybody's throwing off their gloves, fighting at the end. You knew that was coming. Anytime these playoff games are a bit of a blowout towards the end, you know there's going to be some major fisticuffs and shenanigans. And then over the weekend, Colin will be proud about this. Sad he couldn't be on today. He is busy, but he is also below the weather without voice, I'm being told, which is an essential part of what we do here. The Canadian Open, I think. I saw the Mounties over there holding the old flag on the 18th hole. Learned about the Mounties today. They got a cute little uniform. It's cool. I don't mean to be rude. A five-hole playoff, I believe it was watching that incredible effort by Fox versus Burns, and then finally wins it. Fox with his fellow countrymen. The New Zealand football team was in town because I think that there's some international play going on right now, I assume, in Canada. But sports have been very good on the big stage. And then golf coming to Pittsburgh this week. People will be complaining about all the traffic, and I've already heard about the booked hotels and all kinds of this nonsense. I think it's pretty cool. Got some friends going. Some to volunteer, some to just watch some golf. So we'll see over there in Oakmont. Grab yourself something from the bakery and watch Scheffler win another tournament. We'll see. But I'm just putting off the inevitable here. We got to talk about the Philadelphia Phillies. And I won't be with you too long here. And I don't want to be Mr. Negative. It's funny because I was looking at the last pod that Colin did, and the title's all about calming the nerves. Don't freak out, guys. It's not that big a deal. They're going to be all right. It's baseball. It's a game of streaks, hot streaks and cold streaks. The Phillies are a good baseball team. And I believed them, and I agreed with them. And then Friday, I grab some friends. I grab my wife. I grab a couple of tickets, and we go to the Phillies games because they're in Pittsburgh. Just a nasty series. The whole week has just been this off and on rain, scattered thunderstorms ordeal. Very weird. You could be 15 minutes away from where it's raining and have a nice evening. And then it just seemed like all of these scattered thunderstorms were all over the stadium for whatever reason. So we had lots of delays and lots of uncomfortable baseball watching and uncomfortable playing, I'm sure, for the players, nasty weather. But Friday, go to watch the game, get there early, spend a little extra time at happy hour because of the delay, and then you find out that Harper's not in the lineup. What's going on? Already was a bullpen game going into the day, which is very much less than exciting. I spent a long time trying to figure out how to pronounce the guy's name. Alan Ranhel, I believe, is the correct pronunciation. I think he was a guy that was in the minors, has been in the minors forever, and he got to have his big moment. They kind of did that last year a little bit, a la Tyler Phillips, and there's another guy whose name is escaping me. I think Phillips was a local Philly guy who plays for the Marlins now. R.I.P. But yeah, just not a very exciting game when you have the bullpen game. But the guys hung in there. But man, every single time the Phillies scored a run, literally in the bottom of the inning, the Pirates countered. And that kind of felt like all series long. And there weren't many runs, by the way, scored by the Phillies, which I'm sure everybody's quite aware of that. Every single time, the Pirates countered. So overall, in total, Ranhel did not have a terrible game, but he had a really bad, I believe it was his first inning where he let up 2 runs after we'd got momentum. The Pirates just wouldn't let us run away with it. We're talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates, by the way. One of the worst teams in baseball. And anytime I go to a Pirates game, whoever's hitting better is pitching better. Maybe that can change, but usually the Pirates are the team that always has some kind of fundamental blunder, just like usually not good at the small ball and not great at fundamental baseball. But all in all, they didn't really have many of those moments in this series. But Bryce Harper is hurt. He's on the IL with, I believe, right wrist inflammation, discomfort. And I'm looking at the schedule here in the last games they've played, and I think I count that the Phillies are 7-9. I'll do it quick. They won one of the games that they won. There was a doubleheader. That was the day after he got plunked by Strider. They won the first game in that doubleheader. Then they lost the second. Then they got swept by the Brewers. He came back for the Toronto series. He was gone for the Pirates series. So, yes, we are talking about 7 losses and 2 wins if you include yesterday's game against Chicago. This team is not the same team without Bryce Harper. I know I'm not breaking any crazy news with that, but that's pretty crazy. I believe I just said 2-7, and we're talking about teams like the Pirates and the Brewers. The Brewers are playing a little bit better baseball, but not a team you would expect to get swept by. We have Wheeler off for a little bit as well, but I digress. You can't get swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a leadership thing. I don't know if it's a vibe, energy thing, or it is truly just his bat in the lineup and how differently pitchers can pitch to this Phillies team. But it has a huge effect on this team. And one of my immediate thoughts that comes to mind is, holy cow, this team has to re-sign Schwarber for next year, right? Do they not have? Does it not make you feel like, oh my gosh, I know Harper and Schwarber are not the exact same, but one of their biggest bats goes down. Who's the next biggest bat? If it's not Harper, it's Schwarber, right? They look at the run support they've put up against not very good teams. It feels like, wow, we cannot afford to lose this big bat in our lineup because the other guys in the bottom of the lineup, and there's just not enough there right now. And I don't want to overreact too soon, but against the teams that they've played, 2-7, I believe, is the record I came up with. That's not good. That's not good enough. That is not good enough. And the pitching hasn't been terrible. The big guy to bring up is obviously Jesus Luzardo. I think he was breaking records, right, with the first 10 appearances he had in the year without a loss and just had unbelievable start to the year. My take on Jesus Luzardo is that he's not as great as he looked like he was for the first 10 outings of the year. He's not that great, right? I mean, he was one of the best pitchers in baseball statistically, but he's Also, not as bad as he has been in his past two outings, in my opinion. What's going on with him? I'm no pitching expert. I haven't broken down every pitch, all the film. Um, but it is pretty freaking weird for a guy to go from that dominant, one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, to letting up 8-10 runs in 3-4 innings. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think the easy road to take here is, I guess you could say, injury. Maybe something's nagging him. Or I tend to lean that maybe he has a bit of a tell situation going on right now. And it's gotten around because it just doesn't make sense for a guy to be that stinking dominant to be that awful. I'm gonna tell you a stat that is just the craziest thing. In his last two starts, obviously he's let up a ton of hits. He's let up 20 runs in his last two starts in 5.2 innings. His average, meaning the batting average of hitters against him, 583. 583. And he's not like he's just facing Aaron Judge every single at bat here. I mean, it's unbelievable. So I don't think that. I think he's somewhere in the middle here. I think he's proven throughout his career, apart from just this year, throughout his career, he's proven to be a good pitcher, solid pitcher. There's not many pitchers in all of baseball that are letting up that kind of those kind of runs and hits. It just doesn't make sense. I think there might be a tell. I'm not sure what the plan is for him, frankly. I haven't looked into it. I assume he'll make his next start, but I think injury or some kind of tell that he's got to figure out. As far as other players on the team, I'll throw a positive in here. Would you believe that the best hitter on the team, and I'm kind of looking at the last 15 days stats here. I got a bunch of tabs up. Usually this is where Colin can buy me some time and I can get a bit more organized. But Nick Castellanos, in his last 13 games, batting .362. By far the best on the team, especially with that sample size. So Nick Castellanos carrying the offense right now. Are they not throwing the slider to him these days? It's really unbelievable. I think that in the game that I went to on Friday, actually, he had a classic Nick Castellanos. I can't remember if it was a Friday game or one I was watching on TV. The classic sliding catch attempt, but he didn't come down with it, which was weird to see. It feels like he always makes that catch where he slides in. But 17 hits, 2 home runs, 4 doubles, so he's hitting with a little bit of power as well. .362. Schwarber's been cold. Bohm's been okay, but still the double play ball, it seems to come at the worst times, unfortunately. Trey's been good. And the guy that's been noticeably cold is Kyle Schwarber. Well, no duh. You know, I think we always underestimate how big a difference it makes when you have the two big hitters next to each other and one goes down. And it's such a deep sigh of relief breath for the pitcher when he doesn't have to worry about that back-to-back punch. I swear. I think that had a lot to do with why Soto had such a difficult start to the year. I know Alonso's going off, but I just think this is such a classic thing. Of course, if Harper goes down, plus, you know, the whole lineup changes. Schwarber been hitting in the 2 spot, I believe, lately, but I don't think it's surprising that Harper goes down and Schwarber's not hitting it as well. I really don't. It is June, so it's kind of weird to see that he's been struggling. Maybe he can get back on his horse here. Believe he had a leadoff home run in one of the Pirates games, but that was pretty much all they did. I think that was maybe this Saturday, maybe this Sunday. It's all a bit of a blur because every game was kind of the same, it felt. And then as far as the bullpen goes, I've actually been really pleased with Orion Kerkering. And this has started for a long time. I've kind of like forgotten to mention his name recently. He looked bad beginning of the year, all over the place, lacked confidence. and just felt like he was going to throw it hard, and we'll see where the ball goes. Hopefully, it goes in the zone. Last month or so, he's got to be my favorite arm in the pen, and they bring him out in all of the most stressful situations. You're not usually seeing him in the ninth inning. You're usually seeing him in the 6-7 when the starting pitcher ran out of gas and there's a runner or two on base. So he's coming in for high pressure, high leverage situations, and I love what I'm seeing from him. I really do. The guy that I have been struggling with the most is Matt Strahm. His stats don't look that bad. I think the thing that's always been the thing with Matt Strahm is putting guys out, and so often the thing with bullpen guys can be, all right, got great stuff, just got to find the strike zone. And that's rarely the case with Strahm, I would say. He'll walk the occasional guy. But I think the thing I think of a lot when I watch Strahm pitch is, okay, he's ahead in the count. Don't just throw another strike here. I feel like we've seen a lot of times where Strahm gets the 0-2 count, and then he's like, let's just keep going for it. Let's battle to the metal. No! Throw it outside. Throw a slider. Get it away from the box. Let him chase. But he likes to work quick. He likes to go right after batters. And I think sometimes that does burn him. But that's not a this year thing. I think that's always kind of been the Matt Strahm approach here. So we'll see how it goes. It was nice to get a really clutch win yesterday from a guy, a big hit by JT to get us tied in extra innings. That's another guy that's been cold, and he's got like weirdly bad stats, I believe, against left-handed pitching. I haven't compared it to his career. I think it's quite lower than it normally is as a right-handed hitter. But we'll see how it goes. As far as the big scope thoughts here, the Harper thing feels a little very concerning to me, because what I'm hearing is that this is something he's kind of dealt with in the past. Now, maybe that means, hey, this has happened in the past, and I figured out a way to kind of fix it up or manage it or deal with it. Or maybe that is, oh my gosh, like it came back again. What do I need to do so that this stops happening? I don't know. I always, Harper has such a vicious swing. I always think if towards more so the end of his career, if he's going to be one of those kind of injury bug older veteran players, because he just has such an aggressive, vicious swing. But I don't know if this is from that. I don't know. Like I said, I fully expected him to play last Friday, and then he pops up on the bench and then the IL, and next thing you got Otto Kemp playing, which is exciting. We'll see if Kemp can provide a little bit of power. He's been okay, but like to see if he can show some of that power that he had in the minor leagues. And Bohm, it's wild to me how much more comfortable Bohm looks over at first base. I mean, he's looked better at third in recent history, but he seems so much more confident to me at first base. He looks good and smooth over there. But the Harper thing's concerning. We need him back. We need him in the lineup. Overall, as long as Harper can get back and we get healthy, I feel okay. And I think that the good thing about this team is that the pitching is really good. Even with the Luzardo thing going on. You bring up Abel. This is a team that has, I almost said Cole Hamels. I wish they had Cole Hamels. Aaron Nola on the IL. Like, we're not even working with Nola right now, and we're doing okay. And we got another guy in the minors, Painter, who you don't want to rush up here, but he's there. He's there, and he's not too far behind. So I think pitching like that, even if the hitting – you can survive the cold streaks of hitting because of how good the pitching is and can be. So I don't really have any fear of us losing a lot of ground, even if Harper's gone for a little while, because I just think the pitching provides such stinking stability for this team. We'll see what happens. Hopefully Harper can come back soon. This team is just not the same team without him. It's so much more stinking exciting to watch his team with Harp out there. And yeah, he's just a big energy guy, and he's a big energy guy, but he also he can be a guy that talks, but he also can be the guy that just carries the big stick. Especially him and Schwarber together. So we got the Cubs going on right now. We got to finish up this series, and we just got to get back into winning series, right? We don't need to go win 7 in a row, 8 in a row. Just got to get back to winning series, something that this team was so good at for basically this entire season until this last kind of cold streak has come about, which has followed the hot streak, which is baseball. And then after the Cubs, we got the Toronto Blue Jays at the bank this time, I believe. And then pretty soon here, we do have the Mets coming up. So we got the Cubbies, then over the weekend we got the Blue Jays, and then, we'll be playing some division teams in the Marlins and Mets. As far as the Cubs and Blue Jays go, the Cubs are a fairly interesting team. Their pitching isn't great. Their bullpen has been a little bit better. Definitely a team where we can win this series. Albeit Kyle Tucker's a great baseball player. And they have some other guys. PCA is just a phenomenal athlete. And that's another thing. When I went to the game, Rojas, a very difficult play in center, but couldn't come down with a ball in center field. I wish, because his hitting it can be so bad, Johan Rojas, I wish that he was like a 100% just going to make the play in center field. I don't feel that way about him. I realize that he's capable of very good plays and good speed, but he still has blunders and sometimes kind of mental lapses out there, which I wish that wasn't a part of his game. I would have hoped that by now he'd be a little bit more in control in center. He's capable of greatness, but he is also capable of the blunders. PCA for the Cubs is phenomenal. Maybe in the future a 30-30, 40-40 guy as far as home runs and steals. And then the Blue Jays lineup is weird because at the top of the lineup, it's Guerrero, it's Bichette, two dudes whose dads were both beasts in baseball. They're just carrying the torch for him there. And then the rest of the lineup is like guys that just are like AI-generated baseball names. But they've been playing great ball. They've been hitting the ball well, and they've been playing great ball. Hoffman is their closer, which is pretty nice to see. My name is Jeff. He goes pretty hand in hand with the birth of this podcast, so he always has a special place in our hearts. But I digress. That is all I have here. The Phillies are about, I think, 4 games back from the Mets right now. The Mets have been actually playing pretty good ball. They did also just play the Colorado Rockies, which helps a team play pretty good ball, as we know. But they are a good baseball team. I think the one thing about the Mets that we have on them is that their starting pitching has been good. Like, they've done this thing in recent years where they grab guys and they come to the New York Mets and they become studs. They did it last year. They had, I think, Severino, the one guy's name is not going to come to my mind, still on the team, but he's on the IL, been on the IL to start the year. But the problem is a lot of these guys are not going very deep into games. So the Mets bullpen, who has been very good, is eating up a lot of innings. So that's something to keep an eye on. And it's something, as a Phillies fan, that, hey, keep eating up those innings, man. Let's get some tired bullpen arms by late and the end of the year come playoff season. So that's all I have. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Go Phils. We're going to be all right, but it's not a very fun time with the Harper situation is kind of my read on this. But had a great win last night. Dug deep. Great comeback. Let's ride the wave, and let's get the bank rocking, and let's do it again, Uncle Steve. Until next time, go Birds, go Phils.